Hi everyone, it's Sue here from Scott Properties Group. I'm with Paige Jones from Belle Properties, sitting next door to me. I knew Belle in her previous job and now she's moved. We thought it would be quite nice to catch up with you again, Paige, and ask you a few questions as they're often, because we have investment clients, it's things that we need to talk about, and on the forum, the Property Buyers Forum, it's really good to have those sort of questions. So welcome.
Thank you.
The first question I would like to ask you is, how do you minimise rental property vacancies and maximise the rental return on those?
Yeah, definitely. So I think a key point with maximising your rental returns and minimising vacancy would really be making sure you're working with a proactive property manager. The point being is that you do need the strategic plan in place where you do start advertising before the tenants vacate or the property falls vacant, so you can test the market and be ambitious with that higher price point. The other tip is really to have the lease expire in a peak season, being either January, February, June or July, because this is typically where we receive 5 times the amount of inquiry and where you likely will get a rent increase on your property.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't realise it was that sort of time specific.
Definitely. So it's all in line with, I guess, universities and schools.
Holidays.
Exactly.
And job tends to change, I suppose. So do you find also end of the financial year is really busy for you, with people either not wanting to have people come in or they do want people in? Do you find that as another time when it's quite busy?
Definitely, 100%. So June and July are the other peak seasons. So definitely with the tax and
and it wraps up with all of that. So you do advertising prior to people vacating? Is that how you manage to get the extra?
So with a tenant being in place, an agent has to provide 2 months notice for that tenant to vacate the property. So ideally you want to make sure you're offering a lease renewal and a notice to leave at the same time, so you can be proactive and put that notice to leave in place if the lease renewal is not returned. That makes sure you're in control of the lease renewal and negotiations when it comes to structuring the expiry. So if they do go to vacate, you are in control and you can advertise a couple of weeks prior to them vacating to make sure we can show the property while it's still tenanted and showing people through.
We've had an interesting scenario ourselves of one of our rental properties that we have. We've had tenants in there now for 18 months. They're due to leave in January of next year, and we're really disappointed actually in our rental manager, because there's things that's been going on there. It's sound, it's safe and whatever, but it's not in a very clean condition at all, and Simon is one of Simon's properties actually, and he's not overly keen. But we're in a situation which comes up as well, is that we can't actually get them out because they're on a lease until January. But I'm going to ask you a question, just if you don't mind. I know you're going to be able to answer it. If, for example, we really did need to get these people out because we weren't happy and we'd gone through all the normal breach and whatever, are we in a position, or could we be in a position whereby we could say, right, we would like you out by X, and in turn we will find you a property of a similar. You
definitely can do that, but again, it's really how reasonable the tenants are going to be. So if they're already causing some troubles in the property, they're most likely not going to adhere to your request. So you do need to have the formal processes in place. Tribunal or QCAT down in Queensland, that's our primary base where we'll then escalate the issue to, and an adjudicator is really the only person that can make that decision for them to vacate.
Okay. Yeah. So it's just interesting to know. We'll probably just let them stay there and we won't renew the lease.
Unless they don't remedy the breach notices that have been issued within that time frame required, you'd then have to escalate.
And if, for example, we were to put the property on the market, it was during their period.
Same thing. Yeah, you can definitely always advertise a property for sale. There's pros and cons no matter which way you go. I suppose having tenants in a property while you're selling means that you have that income coming in, but a con would also be the fact that they're living there. It's much harder to do. So
Yeah, so it just takes that time. Okay, well, thank you, Paige. We could go on like this all afternoon, but unfortunately we haven't got all afternoon. Well, I don't know, we might have. So look, we'll be catching up again with Paige in a few weeks' time with some more interesting property management type questions. So in the meantime, if you go to Property Buyers Forum, which is a Facebook group, click on and join. You'll be able to see all these videos that we put on, and we put on roughly 3-4 a week, so there's quite a lot in varying areas. Just click there, join, and you can have a voice as well. So thank you so much. See you next time.